New housing update, decorate and customize your home in midnight. A lot of people have covered this. I'm going to give you my opinion on it. I'm not a big housing Andy. I'm not. So I feel like I'm like the average player out there who's like, yeah, housing, cool. I'll do it if it's cool. And if it's not, I'm not going to do it. Let's see what all this housing customization everything really looks like. I was shocked by some of the previews I saw yesterday. Let's dive into this and see what it's all about.
Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Blizz a while ago has announced that housing is finally coming to World of Warcraft as part of the Midnight expansion. And over the past few weeks and months, they've been releasing some previews of what the housing system may look like piecemeal by piecemeal. And today, or rather yesterday, as we make it of this video, they released a whole slew of information just out of nowhere, showing some of the previews regarding the decoration of your player homes in the
I love how I saw this video and I laughed when I saw it, the table clipping through the fireplace. I'm like, of course Blizzard would show off clipping, right? We've always known Blizzard don't give a fuck about clipping. We've literally had weapons that clip through your back piece, like constantly. So yeah, clipping.
Regarding the decoration of your
this is crazy customizable though.
For now though, everything you see in this video regarding any of the previews and
you're not covering, you're reacting
how
very
you'll be able to decorate a home, everything for now is still a work in progress, and we can't really play with it ourselves for now, but we do have quite an idea of what the housing system.
Quick side note, this trinket that transforms you into an ethereal makes me think that this is literally Blizzard testing what playable ethereals would look like, because they can do a lot of the spells and stuff in the casting animations. Just saying. I thought this when they first added this trinket into the game, and I still think it. I'm like, man, playable ethereals are looking more and more real.
Will look like in Midnight, and this newest preview gives us a much better idea of what it will likely look like by the time it's an officially released feature with the launch of the brand new expansion. So for today's video, I wanted to dive into the newest housing preview, showcasing some of the different ways that you'll be able to adjust and manipulate some of the decorations within your home in order to better customize your little humble abode, which actually may not be as little as we thought. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for either the War Within expansion or features of Midnight, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
Before we dive into all the newer previews that we've had for housing, I still want to come and create.
I'll put this on the record. I am not Greg from accounting. I just have a very, high, fast-paced imagination, so I could really create a story out of anything. Yes, Greg from accounting, he's a real guy. He's not me, though. That's all I'm gonna say.
The culmination of all the information we know so far regarding housing
is real in my imagination.
Midnight. One of the most fan-anticipated features that we get slight little previews here and there piecemeal, and then we go weeks or even a couple of months or so without any new information, and then they give us a small little preview, and then back to radio silence. So it feels like we've had all this information just stretched over a very, very long period of time. So I kind of want to first combine everything together and then use that as a springboard to take a look at the new stuff.
Sure, great. Let's look at it.
Housing is a major fan favorite and fan-anticipated feature as part of the Midnight expansion, which is very hard to believe. Players have wanted to see housing out of World of Warcraft for a very, very long time. It feels like every other MMO has done housing in one way or another, so the fact that WoW never caught up to everybody else just felt a little bit weird, but it would have been such a perfect system.
It felt weird, but it is so World of Warcraft. It really is. It's so Blizzard to be behind, on a feature like this, and then when they finally add it in, it's like the best version of it. And I'll be honest, from what I've seen, this looks like I haven't played Final Fantasy housing or any of that shit, but I can't imagine anything being more customizable than what you can literally arrange items on the table, elevation, spin shit around, colors of basically everything. I mean, this thing was so customizable. I was shocked by it, to be honest with you, because we know World of Warcraft. I mean, character customization's like at a bare minimum compared to a lot of games. You can't go full booba in this game like you can in other ones. You need that little boob scroller. We'll never get that in WoW. But this, the player housing, oh my god, they went all out. It looks unbelievable.
WoW having transmugs and mounts and pets and
Wildstar
all these
housing
things that you can collect. Would be nice if you could display those collections in your own little home. This is not confirmed for sure, but it might actually be part of the pre-patch event for Midnight, so it might be something we might be able to get our hands on just a little bit earlier before the official expansion launch, which would not only make it one of the best pre-patch events, but there's also some things within the roadmap that hint at potentially this thing becoming a little bit available earlier than the actual release of the Midnight expansion.
I think player housing will be a pre-patch thing. Or a pre-order thing. I can imagine, eventually everyone will get it, but if you pre-order, you get early access to player housing. I think that will be a clear boom for people to get the pre-order and shit like that. And Blizzard's done that stuff before. We've seen them give us things that are going to be eventually available to everybody, but for the pre-orders, they get early access to it. I mean, Demon Hunters, the entire class was a pre-order class. So I don't think it'd be that far-fetched to think that player housing is going to be a, pre-order the game feature.
Garrisons, which are kind of like a player home system, sort of on Warlords genre.
Oh
But they
god,
know that the
garrisons.
garrison is there to primarily serve as lessons as to how not to do a proper housing system. Because garrisons was a garrison. It was part of the player power progression of Warlords genre. Real housing needs to have no player power, but more about creativity, self-expression, and like transmogs and mounts and pets and toys, it must be all about collectibles, but also it's a community feature. Some of the basics that we know about the housing, to try to make it more social, we will have neighborhoods. So you're not just going to be alone on an island somewhere in your own home. Instead, you're going to be in a neighborhood with other players surrounded by them.
Yeah.
Everybody will be able to own a house and play.
By the way, I wonder if you'll be able to like evict people or something. I don't know, but because like it's going to be limited in terms of how many players are in the neighborhood. What if like a bunch of these people stop playing and you end up having like some kind of ghost town neighborhood? Are they going to consolidate neighborhoods eventually, or work on a way to, I don't know, move inactive people out of a neighborhood? I don't know how that's going to work, but I can imagine it being a problem for some people. Like, hey man, I'm the only guy left in my neighborhood. Dead game. I don't know.
Players will be able to share
We'll
homes
see.
within a neighborhood. In the neighborhoods, you can either have them as a public neighborhood, if you just want to get a house and watch other players get a house in the neighborhood, you will be able to. Or if you want to go for more of a private neighborhood, like let's say a guild, let's say they decide to make their own little community, so all the guildies hang out in the same neighborhood, they'll be able to set it to private. So in a way, a player will be able to own a home as
I guess that would be more of an issue just for private neighborhoods if there was an issue with it. Wow, HOA. Yeah, wow, HOA, exactly.
part of a neighborhood, but a guild or like a small community for events and stuff can own, in a way, an entire neighborhood instead, which really does add that extra community aspect to it.
Okay, but what happens if you leave the guild? If you leave the guild, do you get kicked out of the neighborhood? Do all of your housing customizations go away? Like, imagine you got a neighborhood of all these people who've left the guild, but they're still in the neighborhood, and you just fucking like bad eye them every time you walk by their house. Like, fuck that guy, he's not in our guild anymore. Why is he still in our neighborhood? Yeah, remains to be seen. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
Which I'm a huge fan of, just because this whole
Eviction
system
notice.
isn't like dungeons. It's not like delves. It's not like a geared progression system. It needs its own treatment, and it does at least seem like on paper, we'll see how this thing turns out when we actually can interact with it, but at least on paper it feels like they understand the goal as to what it must accomplish, and it seems like a friendly, player forward type of a change, and personally I love to see those. Housing also can be horde or ally centric, so like you can have a alliance character.
No, there isn't a guild house, Pella, but there is guild neighborhoods. They already confirmed that. There's going to be guild and community neighborhoods. So you can have a neighborhood made up of just your guildies or whatever. But yeah, like I said, what happens if you leave the guild? All your customizations go away? You have to get a new house? So you get evicted? I don't know.
A horde home, horde character owning an alliance home. Technically your warband owns the house, but you will still need, like, let's say a human character or an alliance character to buy a human style house, or vice versa. But then all of your horde characters can use the house and visit it as much as they want to and do whatever they want to do in it. So it's like another warband aspect feature, and I've been enjoying all the little warband things, or
Yeah,
how they've
warbands
been
have been great.
restructuring into things being, instead of character bound, to be warband bound, which has made progression and collectibles and other features so much more convenient. But at the very least, they give players the ability to be a horde player or alliance player and choose whatever neighborhood and whatever house you want to, which is great. They did say they're going to start with a small number of neighborhoods, so there's not going to be too much variety of neighborhoods to explore. I am a little bit bummed out by it. Really was looking forward to making a city or a house in Silvermoon, or better yet, Suramar, one of the most gorgeous cities ever added. But the reason why they didn't want to do that is to make sure the players aren't spread too far apart in all the different neighborhoods.
That makes sense.
To make sure that the system continues to serve its social function. However, However, recently we also did see a much better preview of some of the ways you'll be able to decorate your house, which gives us an idea of how the system will function. And it looks like it's a lot more detailed than many players have expected. In a way, it's very similar to what some of the other games do when it comes to the housing system, but they're really giving you the controls in your hands and allowing you to run wild with it. So when it comes to decorating your house or apartment or hut, home, whatever you end up doing with it, everything right now, footage-wise, is a work in progress, but it does seem like there's a lot of ways for you to be able to change and adjust how items are going to be placed inside of your home. And this is like the functionality aspect, the main aspect of it, the decoration of the inside of your house.
This part right here, where this is actually, they're going to show the access movement here, but the movement of the items on the table blew my mind. That really did. And look at how many different axes of movement you can have here. If you just look at it, there was rotation, elevation, what was it? There was the grid style movement as well.
You'll be able
There's even size of the items. That's wild. There isn't even a standard size. You can have like this could be a massive table in one guy's house, and it could be a little tiny coffee table in another person's house.
Place items like tables snap into a floor, or let's say books that can go on top of a table or on top of a shelf. So there's some sort of a system of placement at the very least, so items can go on top of each other in a more natural state against usually a flat surface. Lighting is another thing that really wanted to get into it. I'm really excited about it because when they're moving the window around and you can see how the light reflects and affects.
Yeah, this blew my mind too. I noticed that as soon as they showed this, how the light was reflecting off of different parts of the home based on where they were moving the window. That was really cool.
The walls and the distance of it. I'm a huge fan of it.
So
I think it's
cool.
A very nice.
Lighting is such an interesting, such an important thing to a house, right? It gives you a completely different feel and vibe. If you want to have a lot of windows and have a lot of light, you could do that. Look how they clip the window through the floor. I wonder if that's actually be something that you could do, because that's freaking stupid. But being able to just change the lighting in your home based on how many windows you have or placement of windows, that's really cool.
Touch. It looks really good. There's also going to be a snap-in feature, so if you're someone who's not really great at precisely applying all of these different doodads all around the home, you can at least use a grid, kind of like you would use one with your UI.
This is probably what I would use.
Customize where all of the different health bars and party frames go. You will be able to have a grid system to make it a little bit easier.
Very cool. I want to know if there'll be a way to show PvP achievements, Buzzbar. And yeah, I'm sure there will be. There's no way they're not going to have PvP, raid achievements, all kinds of stuff that you'll be able to show off in your home. I mean, they did preview the head of Onyxia hanging on the wall, which would clearly be a raid achievement. So I'm sure PvP ones will exist as well.
To place things into spots, and I think this would be really nice if you try
won't have any windows.
Say, make the house look a little bit more ordered. Like you want things to be a little more equidistant from each other. You'll be able to use the snap-in feature in order to really customize it. So I think it's going to be really good. Collision, while it exists, you can apparently remove it. So if, let's say, you want to place a table, but you want to make sure it doesn't actually touch the wall or doesn't go through the wall, you can enable collision to make sure these items don't clip through one another.
Oh, so you can enable collision. That's cool.
Want them to clip, like if, let's say, you want to take a long table and make it a half table that goes into a wall or something, you will be able to do so. Another interesting aspect is parenting, which means basically if you have a table, you can parent items with it as well.
That's
so if you have
this is crazy.
A desk and let's say a mug, a scroll, and a book, when you parent them together, when you move the table, you move everything that's on the table.
I was not expecting this level of customization. Literally customizing the items on the table.
And it stays exactly as is. So if, let's say you
it'd be really cool. Like we did see in the preview too, there was like a little platform with a trophy on it. I mean, if you get Gladiator, right, getting a trophy for your Gladiator season or every single season that you've had, and just having a shelf filled with Gladiator trophies, I mean, that'd be pretty badass.
Let's see, take a shelf and place a bunch of books and doodads in there, and there's so many different little items. Next time you want to, let's say, move that shelf from the left side of the room to the right side, you don't just have to move the shelf and then every single item by itself. You can just take it as a combo and then scooch it over to the side
I wonder if you could ever enable other people to edit your home, because I know people just fuck with each other. Go in somebody's home and flip all their shit over and then leave. It won't be something that's enabled for sure, but I wonder if you could ever give somebody the ability to do that, or if you got your friend's account login, you go into his account, flip all his shit around, fuck his whole house up, and then leave, bitch. You know, just dip out.
Together,
flip his table and leave.
It's going to be super convenient. Floating is another feature that you'll be able to add to items. So if you want them to float, let's say against a wall or something, or if you just want them to float above other items, you will be able to do so. If let's say you want to use that feature to maybe place like a sword and a shield and like a cross guard on a wall to decorate
Oh
it, you
yeah,
could do
okay.
so. Or if you just want to light up all of your weapons as almost like an armory looking thing, you could do that as well. But I imagine you will also be able to do some creative things with the float feature. Like if let's say maybe you want to turn your house into just a jumping puzzle, I think stuff like that could also be interesting as well, just from
Maybe.
that creativity perspective.
I mean,
Resize
with this shit, I mean, you could basically take this rug, rotate it, float it, and hang it on a wall. You could the possibilities are endless because this is not just a 2D or 3D zone. This is like a 4D movement system. So yeah, you could do all kinds of crazy. You can create curtains with a bunch of shit too. I mean, it's wild what you can
Rising
do.
is also going to be natively added into
Make a
the
room like a
housing
fun house.
system,
Yeah, if
and
you
as part of the
furniture on the
preview,
ceiling.
they said they're going to be generous with the resizing. So you're not going to be able to make, like, I don't know, a chair and make it massive, taking up the entire room, but they will allow you to make it fairly large. So
I
those
would imagine like a gnome sizing everything to fit a gnome, and you walk in as like a Tauren into their house, and everything looks tiny. I think that'd be kind of cool, like a little hobbit home for gnomes or goblins, yeah, or a little furry home for your Vulpera. Yeah, why not?
sounds like there's going to be
Vulpera orgies matter too, right?
some sort of a limit with the resizing feature specifically. Again, when it comes to creativity, this gives you a lot of opportunities of how you might be able to take certain everyday items and potentially adjust them to look like something completely different.
Yeah.
Also, you will be able to dye all of your furniture, and dyeing, in a sense, is part of like this cosmetic charm, very
This is
similar
cool.
to that of a transmog. But let's say if you have a bed frame, you'll be able to dye the wood that is used for that frame, or the metal bits that hold it together, or even the sheets and all these different details. So they are adding a dye system into World of Warcraft.
I wonder if they're gonna make these dyes like strictly available out of the box, or like all this stuff too. Right here looks like undermined furniture, but out of the box customizable, or you got to unlock them, or even better, locked behind store purchases. That's right. Yeah. Buy this shit. That's gonna exist. We already know that, right? What I'm hoping for is like, okay, we get some of it through the trading post, some of it through achievements, some of it's just standard unlock stuff, and then yeah, are they gonna have items on the Blizzard store? Of fucking course they are. How do you think they justified this to corporate? Right? They probably told them we're going to add this crazy customizable housing system, and eventually, guess what? We can put a couch on the store for purchase. We could put a fireplace on the store for purchase. Shut up, Sam. I know I put it out there in the universe. Blizzard watches my content, so for sure, this if they weren't thinking it, now they're thinking it. There will be store items, I guarantee it. Or like even packs. Oh my god, I can already picture it. Like here, the Blood Elf pack, furniture pack. Buy now, $30 on the Blizzard store. That's gonna happen. That's going to happen. But that doesn't mean the system's a bad system. It'll be very cool, and you won't have to, you won't have to buy things, but there will be things for sure on the Blizzard store.
Warcraft just for objects, at least at first. Many players have been wondering if Blizzard should at some point maybe
Secret
add a
rooms
dye
trying
system
to-
for transmogs, and it looks like they're adding some sort of a dye system into the game, at least for items that you can put in your house. It makes you wonder if they potentially could add a dye system for transmogs as well in the future. I mean, if you'll be
I
able to
doubt it.
literally customize the type of materials that your bed frame or your bookshelves may have, couldn't they do the same thing for armors as well?
It's not a matter of if they could, it's a matter of if they would, and I don't think they would, because colors for armor are an indication of where the armor came from in WoW. That's just always been, they've always been attached to each other. There's a mythic colorway, a heroic, a PvP color set. So color in WoW has always been indicative of the origin of the armor set. If they ever added a color dye system into the game, that's completely lost. And maybe some people don't give a shit about that, but I just think the way the game's made, they would never do it.
To this realm.
Mallrat, thank you. Mallrat 1980, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge. Yeah, I don't think they would ever add this. Could they? Yes, but will they? No.
Wow, just imagine the amount of creativity that they could add with this simple feature just for transmogs, and how players could just run wild, taking some of the sets that would normally naturally clash against each other when you put them together. But if you were to, let's say, give them a uniform color scheme, then maybe those sets could even look even better than ever
For
before.
sure.
But I'm kind of going off of a tangent here. Another aspect of your home that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to partition the house, and you can even have like an overhead overview of
This
your
is crazy.
home and separate the different parts of your house to maybe have like a main
I can't believe. I thought the house was going to be one room. There's different. You can have a sex dungeon officially. It's unlockable right here. This is crazy, man. I never expected you to actually be able to partition your home into separate rooms.
A living room area, a study, a potentially an armory,
They went all in on
a
this.
dining room area, or whatever you may want to do with it. And the fact that there's partitions based on that 2D render, it does seem like the house, at least compared to some of the preview videos that we saw, it does seem like you may actually have some decent amount of space.
Yeah,
in
some
your
good
new
square
home.
footage.
Like, it won't be as small and as clustered as it looked like in some of the preview footage. So potentially maybe there'll be more
Yeah,
options.
I thought this was the entire home, but based on that image he just showed, this is just a room. This is just a room in the home. Right, where the fuck is it? This is just one of these rooms. That's crazy. Here's the fireplace right here. I wonder if they're legitimately showing the same room. We see the fireplace, the bookshelf here. Maybe not, but it's crazy that this is actually a freaking room in the home and not the entire
Small
home.
as it looked like in the preview at first, and there'll just be a lot more rooms and a lot more space for you to be able to drop in all of your doodads and decorations and items and
Yeah, you can have a
furniture and
trophy
all of
room.
these things, which gets me excited for it. It does seem like potentially they're going for a more of an ambitious spacing for your homes, which in my opinion would be really, really cool. If that is the default, that would be excellent. Or if potentially if there maybe
It could be some unlockable feature too, though. It could be that the default is a single room, and then beyond that, you got to do something, or hey, pay for it. I don't know. I keep saying it. I keep saying it, maybe, but or it's just default that everyone gets the same square footage, and you can divide it up however you want. Same
there's gonna
trophy
be
room would be empty.
variations of
All
homes,
right.
like a small, medium, and
All
a
right.
large. Like the more gold you spend, the more of a lavish, big, open house you can get. So potentially, maybe that's something they're setting up, or that the housing is going to be baseline fairly spacious and expansive, and it'll give you plenty of room for you to be able to drop in any of the decorations and furniture from
Right.
the get-go. But as always, though, I do want to thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys did enjoy this video. This isn't usually something that I make on the channel. Normally, we would talk about in-game patch content, updates, patch notes, class changes, class builds, but just taking a look at the very much fan-anticipated feature of the housing for Midnight and some of the preview. Honestly, I've had a lot of fun putting this one together. As always, join our Discord community, probably the best place to reach out to me, or hit up all the rest of the members of the community discussing all of the newest updates as soon as they hit the live realms. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as
Very cool.
always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.
Yeah, shocking. Honestly, shocking how customizable this is. I never expected Blizzard to go this deep, all in, balls deep on player housing, but they did. And congratulations to everybody who's been waiting for this, who's been wanting it. It looks like you are going to get a fully fledged player housing feature, which looks pretty damn cool and could lead to some really cool stuff down the line when it comes to achievements and everything else. Nice video here from Dalaran.